apply exponent properties. Involving quotients. Okay, so I'll teach you what the book says, and then I'll try to explain it another way, okay? And it's not necessary to teach you another way yet. Pretty soon we're going to have some negative exponents. We need to address what that is. So I'm going to hint at that today, okay? Quotient of powers. That just means if you have like bases in a fraction, no plus or minus signs, okay? You have like bases. What you do is you put your base in your numerator and take the top exponent minus the bottom. Alright, pretty simple. That's what everything looked like. It'd be easy, right? Let's make sure we understand something here. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Rules. 1. Must be like bases. Rule number 2. Put base in numerator, the top. Well, see how you have the top and the bottom here? Numerator means the top. So you have two like bases. If they're one on top of the other, and you're going to do this, and you're going to subtract the top exponents minus the bottom, then you got to put the base in the numerator when you put them together. You can't put it on the bottom. So the point, yes.
Does anything wrong with them?
If there's anything else there, it remains there. I'll do some more examples, okay? All right, so let's just look at, let's do example 1 right here. So x to the 5th over x cubed. Step.
X to x squared.
X squared. Now, here's what this rule says. Put the x in the top, take the top exponent minus the bottom, and you get x squared. Now, there's nothing left in the bottom at that point, so other than a 1. Okay? It's not 0. So there's a 1 there. Everything has a 1 in front of it, right? So there's still that 1 in the bottom. I just don't need to write it. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Here's what is really happening for those of you who would like to know how we know this. X to the 5th is x times x times x times x times x. Is that correct?
Yes.
And x cubed is x times x times x, right? And there's a 1 in front of everything, right? Have I lost anybody? All right.
Hold on a second while I write this down.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, and this is really what I want you to be thinking of when you do this. I think it's better to think of it this way, in this fashion. I wouldn't want you to write these things out, but here's the point. What is x over x?
It cancels out.
1. 5 over 5 is 1, x over x is 1. So that's 1, that's 1, that's 1. What are we left with? 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 on the bottom, which is 1. On top, you're left with 1 times x times x. X squared. Now, the reason I'm saying that is, it's best to look at it like this, that there's 3 on the bottom, there's 5 on the top. 3 of these will cancel with 3 on the top, leaving 2 on the top. As opposed to this example. I'm going to go ahead and address the negative situation here. part of it. I'm not going to address the whole. So if we do this formula to this problem, x goes on the top, and we take a 3 minus 5, which is what, Sophie?
Or
What?
negative.
Negative 2. Well, you can't have negative exponents. We don't like that, unless it's specifically asking for you to just do this formula and leave everything the way it is. So I don't know what your homework problems look like. Do you have any? Those of you who've done it already, are there any negative exponents? Okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay, it's all right if there are. Okay, because we're going to address the negative exponents, I think, in the next day or two. And you don't know what to do with them. Nobody's taught you how to deal with them, right? Yes? We have?
No, I mean, no.
Okay. You're agreeing with me. Okay. So, this is for the next couple days when we cover this. So right now, this would be your answer for today's homework assignment, based on what this is. But you really can't have negative exponents. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you this. X cubed, again, is x times x times x. Alright, there's ones in front of everything, just in case you want to know what's left when everything cancels out. I have a 1 left on top. And now what do I have? X squared on the bottom. X to the negative 2 is the same as x to the positive 2 in the denominator. Okay. And I'll cover what to do with that. I think it's tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I'll have to look at it. But today, you'll just leave that stuff in the numerator. Okay? Unless it's specific that says to get rid of your negative exponents, which I don't think it does. We haven't covered it. Alright, so let's do this one. Example 3. So my point to you today is, this is what you should be thinking of today. Alright? But I'd rather you start to make sure you kind of think of it this way. If I said x to the, this is extra here, guys. X to the 98 over x to the 102, you're going to say what?
X to the fourth.
X to the negative 4 today. Once I teach you about negative exponents, you're not going to say that. You're going to say 98 of these cancel with 98 of these, leaving 4 on the bottom. Right?
Yeah.
So you'd say 1 over x to the 4. But again, I'll give you a formal explanation of that.
That's what it says in the explanation.
Okay. Okay. So, example 3. Here's a little bit more difficult one. 6x cubed y squared all over 8x to the 5th y. Alright, so that's a more commonly looking problem than just what we have. So what do we do with the 6 and the 8? What do you think? Lauren?
Reduce them.
Reduce 6 and 8. So go ahead and reduce that. What do you get when you reduce 6 and 8?
3 and 4.
3/4. Alright? So I'm just starting it like this. I don't know what it's going to end up looking like. We'll see that. Now what else do you see? Do you see any plus or minus signs?
No.
Good. Because if you do, stop. You can't do this if there's plus and minus signs between these things. Alright, so what do you notice at this point? Are we done? Nate,
You're going to have negative exponents.
okay? You have like bases, so what do I do?
Oh, sorry. No, sorry, you're not going to have a negative exponent. Well, yeah, you are. So I was thinking about the, I'm sorry.
Tell me what to do.
You have to subtract the 5 from 3.
Alright, you get negative 2. Is that it? We done?
No.
Brianna?
You subtract the y from y squared.
And you get? Y to the first. Okay. 2 minus 1 is just 1. Notice I put up my variables. The like variables go on top based on what we said here. You put the bases in the numerator, subtract the top exponent minus the bottom. That's if you're following this. And today you're following that rule. Okay, but for future preferences, you're not going to follow it. Leaving?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really all there is to it. Now, while we have the camera rolling, those of you who've done your homework, if you have a question on a problem, let me have the problem so we can share those questions. Stephanie, what problem is it?
Well, actually, it's about like from 22 to 36. I was wondering, do you want us to like simplify it like for 3 to the third power, and you want us to put it as 27?
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. On the first section, like if you had 3 to the 20, 3 to the 5th, you would leave that as your answer.
Okay.
On the second part of the assignment, you actually would tell me what 3 to the 5th is, okay? Just like we did on the homework I was due for today. First section, you leave it the way it is. Second section, you calculate. Are there any questions on that assignment, those of you who've been working on it? Glenn?
Well, I'm just looking at it. What about this, like, fractions or multiplied together?
Okay, give it to me. Give me the one you're looking at.
In parentheses, 2x to the third over y.
All of that's in parentheses?
Yes.
Okay.
And outside, it's to the third power then.
Parentheses is to the third.
No,
There's
x to
3
the third.
in and out.
Yeah, in and out. Times 1 over 6x to the third.
X is raised to the third.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing you should do is PEMDAS, right? Parentheses. Can you do anything inside the parentheses?
Yeah.
No. You can't do anything inside the parentheses?
Never mind, sorry.
Are you crazy?
Alright, so the next thing is your exponents. You can't do anything with that exponent.
Why can't you do everything inside the parentheses?
It's the base
What do you want to do inside the parentheses?
Distribute the 3.
Okay, that's outside the parentheses.
Oh, yeah.
Which is E for exponent. PEMDAS. So now it takes me to this, alright? Yes?
So, like, what if it, problem like that, it has more than one variable, and one out of the 2 variables are the same, and it's parentheses, can you still?
Let me do this one first.
Alright. I'll ask you later.
So let's distribute that 3 to every exponent. Alright? Now, what number is this?
34.
It's in the second set?
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to do 2 cubed, which is going to be 8. That's going to be x to the 9th, and that's y to the 3rd. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Alright, now once you've distributed that exponent through, those parentheses are gone. And we multiply straight across, top and bottom, just like we've been taught. This becomes 1 times 6 is 6, x cubed, y cubed. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Now am I done?
No.
Why am I not done?
You have to subtract the.
Well, yeah, why is that? What am I subtracting? Go ahead and say what you're going to say. You're right.
You subtract the bottom from the top, the exponent.
This one right here?
No,
Why? Why not this one?
because there isn't a y.
Oh, okay, so you're subtracting because you have like bases. That's what I'm looking for. You notice you have like bases. You need to combine them. So she's right. And you need to reduce the 8/6 by 2. So that's 4/3. The x's go together. Put it on top. Top minus the bottom is 6. You have a y cubed left on the bottom. So you must do these things in order. Hold on a second. So, Reggie,
Yeah.
do you still have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, what number are you looking at?
44.
44?
Yeah.
What is it?
Parentheses 2m to the 5th n over 4m squared. Parentheses with the squared.
With a what?
It's squared.
Is that exactly right?
Yeah, and then times parentheses m n to the fourth over 5n squared parentheses
5m squared.
5n. There's no squared. It's squared outside the parentheses.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so what is your question about this?
On the first one, can you distribute that?
This?
From what you said, I thought you couldn't because.
This one?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to distribute this 2 to every single exponent in there.
Thought you couldn't because like they didn't. The bottom one didn't have another n.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
As long as there's no plus or minus signs, every single thing that has an exponent, meaning also the 2, the 4, and the n, they have exponents, gets multiplied by that 2.
Okay.
Once you do that, then the parentheses falls. Do the same thing here, and then the parentheses falls. Once you do that, multiply straight across, just like we did here. Combine like terms, combine like bases. Be either adding the exponents or subtracting, depending on which one you're going to do first. Some things you can choose. You're going to get the same answer. Luke.
When you're done answering questions on that assignment, can you answer a question on the next page?
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions? Yes, Cameron.
Why'd you switch the, on 34, why'd you switch 6x to the third and y to the third? I thought it would go straight across, so it'd be y to the third time, and then 6x.
This part right here.
Yeah.
Well, this times this, 1 times 6 is 6, and then just x cubed times y cubed, they just go together. You can't, they don't become one thing. Okay, it's like 2/3. You can't reduce it any further, so it just stays 2/3. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, others? Ben?
Number 18.
All right, tell me what it is.
4 to 9.
Reggie, throw me that marker up there. 4 to the 9th?
Yeah. Times parentheses -1/4 parentheses 2.
Okay. What do we do with this 5?
Distribute it.
Okay? So here's the thing. The negative's inside the parentheses. That is going to be multiplied 5 times. What value does that give me? Positive or negative? Gives me negative. So I have 4 to the 9th. I'm going to distribute this. Parentheses goes away. It stays negative 1 on top. 4 to the 5th on the bottom. What's this as a fraction? Yeah. Now what do I do? Got it?
Well, yeah.
Okay, multiply straight across. And then combine your like bases. All right. Oh, your assignment. Right up. Page 498. 4 to 44 evens. Mixed review evens.
I don't